One of the biggest Fallout 76 concerns right now is how much of this experience is geared towards single player and story. Bethesda at their E3 conference pretty much avoided this topic almost completely, making a short remark that you can play solo, which technically you're still in a world with other real players. This is an online Fallout game, something that has been their focus within interviews and the E3 conference. This is additionally their first online Fallout experience, although years ago that almost happened with Interplay's Fallout Online, but that was shut down with lawsuits from Bethesda, and eventually it resulted in a settlement with Bethesda gaining the rights to Fallout Online for $2 million. Anyway, with Fallout 76, even though it is an online-only game, many including myself have wanted to know if people that enjoy Bethesda Game Studios titles for the story and single-player elements, would they get that type of experience in Fallout 76? Thus far, Todd Howard and Pete Hines have done numerous interviews, and this subject had been barely touched upon. What we've gotten is, I believe, one interviewer literally asking if there were new creatures in the game, and just a lot of repetition of stuff that's already been talked about. But thankfully, GameSpot finally asked Todd Howard this.
You know, you have this new vision, you're coming at it from a new angle, but there's still people who, they know what they want from a Fallout game,
Sure.
even if you're presenting this new perspective on it. So for those people like me who, I like the idea of a multiplayer Fallout game. As someone who likes the classical Fallout experience, will I be catered to properly? So for someone who knows classic Fallout 3 for example onwards, will those people be able to get that kind of experience out of a multiplayer Fallout game like this?
Before I even start with Todd's response, I still don't understand why it took so long for this question to directly get asked. Anyway.
Well, I can't answer that and say absolutely for every Fallout player, because there's so many things in a Fallout 3 or a 4 or New Vegas or the old ones. There's so many parts of those that to say this is what a Fallout fan likes.
Right.
I see all types. So the heavy NPC quest and dialogue system, it clearly doesn't have that.
I think collectively most fans enjoy Fallout for the single player experience. That's just my opinion. Of course, there's a lot of people that like settlement building or the idea of multiplayer, and I'm sure there's a number of other things. But I would say those are much more in the minority, which is why hearing the focus of Fallout 76 is on the online aspect, it's a bit of a shock for many, and additionally the hashtag SavePlayer1 campaign they launched just 6 months ago seems a little strange right now, but continuing on.
Watching a lot of people play it on a Twitch or a Mixer or whatever, the stuff they're doing a lot, which is exploring and leveling up and finding areas and finding stories, it has tons of that.
Right.
So if they're like that part of it and just doing that on their own, it's, it really tickles that. It is different, but it feels like when you sit down and play it, it feels like Fallout 3 or 4,
Right.
but it has a little bit of a different loop because you run into other players. You don't know what they're going to do.
I don't think anyone has an issue with the feel or the tone, but exploring just to explore can get boring, and that's why a lot of players are hopeful for tons of content, which typically in the past has been story. In Fallout 4, you're siding with one of the 4 factions and progressing through that storyline. Exploring helps make that part more enjoyable, and obviously once that storyline wraps up, the bonus for many is taking on the remaining side quests and yes, exploring. But by removing the focus on story and simply having a game focused on exploration, settlement building, player versus player, that's different and worrying to many.
The other thing I'd say is, clearly we're fans of other franchises or things, and I understand some of the anxiety in terms of when there is a new entry, you don't want that to be a missed opportunity. Like, people like what they like. And so we kind of keep that in mind too, but as developers and creators, we like to try new things,
Right.
and this is one of them.
Bethesda releases a new game about every 3 to 4 years, which is why hearing Fallout 76 is focused on the online is a disappointment for many. Some see this as being a crybaby, but there's something special about a Bethesda single-player experience, and now knowing there's going to be probably a 5 to 6 year gap from Fallout 4 to the single-player focused game Starfield, that's news that hurts for many, which I understand, but I do respect and understand that Bethesda wants to try new things. Although I think the bigger problem here is with this industry shifting to more online games and services. We've seen great single-player only developers shift their focus to online and not turn back, which ultimately is the fear with Bethesda doing a live service Fallout.
So I guess for a lot of people, for you guys, it's a matter of Fallout 76 doesn't tell you a story, it's about you creating your own story.
There is a story.
Right.
There's we want to let the players create story. That's what they already do in our
Right.
games. That's what a lot of people like about our games. there definitely is a story in this game. You know, what happened to the people outside after the bombs fell? Where are they?
Right.
What are the new threats in the world? How do you solve that?
And that is Fallout 76's story, and without NPCs to interact with, it's going to be interesting how enjoyable and long the story will be. It seems for the most part this game will rely on environmental storytelling, which has worked with unmarked locations and things like that in Fallout 4, but on this scale it really will be interesting if they can pull it off. So I'm adding in some audio after recording, and Bethesda has confirmed how quests and the story will work in Fallout 76. It's going to be relying on a lot of audio through holotapes. This has worked for many other games, and it doesn't change my feeling that it's going to be interesting if they can pull it off.
Our quests are given out largely through holotapes, notes, terminals, and the story's very organic. It's the story of the survivors that went out before you the first 25 years after the bombs dropped. So you'll engage in their story. We added a lot of holotapes to this game. You'll hear a lot of audio. You will, of course, be able to, so that the story's actually rich in a way because you'll be able to hear it as you continue to quest along and enjoy the experience in a way we haven't done before.
But pretty much Todd's response is this does feel like Fallout and has the same tone, but it's really up to players to make this experience fun. With NPCs before you have a backstory and it's scripted, with just real players that's relying on them to play the game like it's been shown in the trailers and during the conference. But as we all know, people can be rude and do their best to ruin your day, which may or may not hurt this experience for some. Anyway, what I get from Todd's comments is this was not intended to be a single player game, and it's clear from his comments and the footage shown it is not. It's different, and some people are going to be open to change and some are not, something that I'm sure Bethesda already anticipated. Well, I understand this is not Fallout 5, I've just been surprised they went all in on multiplayer. I honestly did not expect that, mainly because I thought they wouldn't be able to do that on their engine, and additionally I thought this would be a bit of both, with a supported single player and maybe a co-op multiplayer. But right now I accept Fallout 76 for what it is, and I still think it's going to be a very enjoyable gameplay experience. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value. Also consider subscribing for much more Fallout 76 content to come, and I'll see you later.